live. Where are you in New York now?
I don't know, guess Gramercy?
Nice.
It's called Essex. And then walking. I guess I'm going to walk to the next party.
And it's a Tron event?
Yes.
We've got the screen up. And I saw you put on here hacking profanity vanity addresses.
Oh, this is a good one. This is a good one.
That sounds fun. A lot has happened in the past week.
All right, we've got 37. Hey, 37, what's up? I've just produced an episode that you were featured in. It was there were 3 questions. How do you take ERC20s and then mint them for ERC 721s? And then what happens if you're too centralized? You know, how do we decentralize some of these things? And then also, when you mess up, where's the big red button? So
where's the big red button?
And yeah, so thanks for the questions, 37, because it's been a while. You know, that's like 20 weeks ago. So I want to see,
right.
Did we launch? You know, some of these episodes are great. It's like, you know, I'm uploading an episode. It's like, hey, how do you spell solidity? And then, you know, after I publish the episode, they're going to be retweeting and they'll be like, I retired.
Yeah, Ellie Voxel's here.
Last week was interesting, the Fidgetals talk.
Nice, thank you.
We discovered 2 fake collections today, 2 scam collections. We got them taken down. Howard talked to somebody, and they're down now, but it was funny to finally see some fake ones, just as you said would happen, Will.
Wow, so fake website or just fake on OpenSea?
Fake on OpenSea. One of them was a pretty good dupe. You know, it was fairly close, except it was Rawlings NFTs with an extra S at the end. And the other one was just a bunch of random stuff kind of half put together.
Did they have the graphics the same?
Yes, so the good one actually ripped our videos, and they did 16 of them that were like numbered and such. The other one just took screenshots of 4 of the same numbers and reposted the exact same number one a bunch of times. So one was a little bit easier, that it was like low effort.
Wow. That's a form of flattery.
Yeah, I guess that's how you know you've made it.
Yeah, don't worry about the sales figures. Worry about the copycats.
Yeah, nobody bought one of the fake ones, so that's good.
Awesome. You know, maybe they have a website, so we would want to take that down too. But you won't know about that. Like, they won't link from their fake NFT to their website. They'll link from their fake NFT to your website.
Yeah, that's what they were doing, is they were still linking to our Discord and our website and all that. Not the Twitter or Instagram, because it's not verified, but still linking to the legit sites.
Happy NFT Day.
Today is International NFT Day.
Oh yeah.
Wait, really?
5 years.
What does that
5
mean?
years ago, ERC 721 token standard was finalized.
Ah.
You're not finalized. Introduced.
Oh yeah, my bad.
So it's when you issued the pull request?
So
Will?
this credit goes to Dieter Shirley from
Okay.
Axiom Zen. This is when they opened the pull request, and the word NFT was coined.
Oh, when the word NFT was, I guess, officially showed up in the Ethereum repo.
Yes. So that was when the word came in. There
Yeah.
was a draft, and then that was 5 years ago.
Wow.
And Flow/Dapper Labs is running some cool events today. They're sponsoring a lot of parties worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
International NFT Day. So there's a really nice article from NFT NYC. Thank you.
Oh, here's a big thing on Google. If you Google International NFT Day, a featured snippet comes up that says September 20th. So it like highlights September 20th in big letters. Any reflections 5 years on? How things have gone? The road ahead?
The end of the beginning.
Still at the beginning.
End of the beginning.
Oh, end of the beginning.
End of the beginning. Yeah, we definitely made a splash.
Why would you mark this as the end of the beginning, 5 years on?
Well, I think this is where we're going to see crypto winter was a part of this. So this will be the part where the getting rich quick from people that have sold nothing ever before, and then retiring off of their first NFT. That's kind of slowing down. And then people that are already well established starting to dabble.
Right.
That's kind of, getting known.
Yeah.
That's starting to move into the public consciousness, the story.
Mm-hmm.
The Nikes and the Microsofts of the world are starting to get known for this stuff a little bit too. I think those are going to be the bigger stories.
Right.
That's kind of the end of the phase one, and this lines up with the timeline. My 5 years or whatever is kind of where phase one was supposed to, the end of the beginning.
Slava, go ahead.
Hey, it's Slava here. I wanted to ask a question. I know that you were one of the core, I would say, drivers for the NFT token standard. So I'm curious if you remember, what were some of your motivations for exploring and developing the ERC 721 token standard?
For sure. So I came in on the scene, and the first thing, like from the very beginning, this was obviously something, there's a magnet, right? So I walked into the scene and I saw this pull request. And there's just, everybody's talking about it, everybody wants it done, nobody's doing it. So there's a vacuum. And I said, okay, so I didn't know anything about anything. And this is what I saw. This is the opportunity. So I walked in on this and I said, okay, well, something's here. Let's look into this. So that was the curiosity. Then I opened up the lid and I saw the CryptoKitties. And basically they're just pictures of cats. YouTube was just videos of cats. And I said, okay, this is going to be, a successful sale. I can see that. But then I saw these other products that are going to come. And so here's what did it for me. Here's what piqued the interest. When I saw in my mind the type of products that were coming, but then I saw what people were talking about, they were only talking about the most basic stuff. They're like, okay, well, if this kind of plays out by itself, they're going to be leaving a lot on the table. I realized that my job here for the future vision that I had is I'm going to need to stay because there's going to be a lot of getting rich quick here. There's going to be a lot of grabs. Everybody does that. But there's a lot more to do here. And so I said, okay, well, if I'm going to help with the standard, I'm going to help with the advocacy, the teaching, all of that, and I can also help with the inspiration and sharing the bigger picture too. And that's when I committed.
Thanks, Will. I'm curious, have you also led other token standards to kind of the same level of, I would say, drive as you have for the ERC 721?
Yes, so there are other NFT token standards which I was talking through or collaborating or discussing or reviewing. And all of the other NFT ones basically were withdrawn. We passed with unanimous consent. So basically everyone's like, okay, ERC 721, this is the best. And I'm not saying that it's better. From the beginning, we kind of had an unfair advantage. The unfair advantage was everybody wanted there just to be one standard. So we got this one done, and all the other ones did. So me being involved with the other ones, kind of disappears in history because they weren't finalized, they were withdrawn. And there's no reason, we could still write about those, right? So that's in terms of NFT on Ethereum. Now, also, I had worked on the same exact thing on Aion.
On where?
So I'd made Aion, AION, which is a Java-based blockchain, which may or may not still be around. I think the project fell apart, but they had, completely original, their own thing going on, and they wanted NFTs, so we talked. Good stuff. I've also done some reviews with Near. So Near has an NFT standard. And then, of course, on Ethereum, just because it happens to be pretty big, I do review the newer ones. So like 1155. I'm not a co-author on that, but I've done reviews. And I review basically all the token standards because I would like to see high levels of quality. So if they're coming out, they're not as good as they can be, I want to fix that. I want to see, I want to stand on the shoulders of giants and then be among giants.
Thanks, Will. I really appreciate it. If you don't mind sharing, like, what are some of the more recent token standards that you have been paying attention to, or maybe even reviewed?
There's no new token standards. So what we're talking about going forward are extensions. So we're not competing, we're just extending, which is good, because that affirms what we already have and gives us new utility. Obviously, the big thing that everybody wants to talk about is royalties, because there's money in royalties. Just like the beginning of ERC 721, there were CryptoKitties, and then people just want money. Now everybody sees OpenSea, and they assume OpenSea is making money, so they want to do what OpenSea is doing, and then they just want to make royalties. I'm shaking my head here, and I'm not sure how much room there is for OpenSea copycats. I'm not sure, that all these value propositions that they're talking about are aligned, with what we want. But they're going to do it, so maybe not, right? So I have been following all of these. Tree Trunk, 4910, 2981. So we have the royalty standard, we have the multi-level royalty standard. I'm definitely following these. The one pass, the ones in draft. I'm watching, I'm commenting. They have an idea, I want to help them and I want to get it done. And then we'll see who uses it. Because who am I to judge?
Yeah, that sounds great. And Hellomoto on Twitch is asking, why wasn't Sue Squares featured today?
I know, I didn't even get a shout out from Flo either. But can't be salty. There's a story of ERC 721s published by Flo. So they recognize what they believe to be the first NFT, and obviously they give a shout out to CryptoKitties, which is their product. And then, I don't want to say the names of the project because I want to put them wrong, but you can see it on the International NFT Day website.
Okay, yeah. We got the Dapper Labs celebration post. Oh, and internationalnftday.org, I guess is the URL.
Cool.
Yeah, who's running this project?
Flo. Sponsored by, there's some sponsors. There's like Flo, OpenSea, and of course the links on the website are just chilly linking to whoever is sponsoring.
Oh, but this is nice. It has a little timeline. All right, we'll put it in the show notes.
But I had no love for Sue Squares on that page. And Flow is consistent because they consider CryptoKitties to be ERC 721. And so for them to say that Sue Squares is the first one would contradict what they've said. So at least they're, from their perspective, it's fair.
Hey, Slava here. I have a question for Daniel and William. I'm wondering if you have considered dropping or airdropping NFTs to your listeners or your watchers for the show.
Yeah, well, it's I think it's something that we've started thinking about. No set plans yet.
We haven't committed to it, but we've been preparing for it. In the show notes at the top, it does talk about this a little bit now. And I think the natural way is that we would be giving them to the people that stay to the end of each show and that get the mention in the tweet. I guess Dan gets to make the official tweet today, too. That tweet goes in the show notes, and then it blows up anybody who showed up on the call and stayed to the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can use that, and we can give out points, or some ideas where we're kicking, where we would give everybody like popes. We can give them points or NFTs. I was even looking at making a DAO, use these as a way to vote on special guests or something like that. When you say, do you want to give out NFTs to people on this call? It's a very specific thing. It's very specific. And more generally, if the question is, do you want to recognize the people that are on this call? Hell yes. We already started that. The way we do that is by mentioning via tweet. And so we're blowing up, you can see a record of who was here every time. Whoever stayed at the end, we record that. So that is one way of giving props. The NFTs is just, a specific way that we could go further with that. And then we have the soul-bound, not fungible tokens, which Dan was talking about, community points. And that's something we can do too.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, William, you mentioned soulbound, so I think it's relevant here. I'm sure you came across the ERC 5192, which is the minimal soulbound NFT token standard, which is now finalized. So that could be a simple implementation where you essentially lock a token from being transferred.
Yep.
I think there's different levels of contribution too that we also want to consider. You know, people who, I mean, speaking up and driving the conversation forward on these calls is great. There's submitting PRs to the repos that we're working on to build open source stuff together, inviting speakers to come and share what they're doing at these events. Those are all, if we go with like a point system rather than just one set of NFTs that all the listeners get, it's, I think, a good way to encourage everybody to contribute even more. And that could create kind of a positive cycle. But that takes that takes a lot of thinking and planning to do it well.
One of the motivations was to have our project board where we would be encouraging people to work on different projects. All types of people, not just programmers. Yeah, so this is also community service. It's not just me, community service, you know, Dan and I answering your questions, opening conversations, but it's all of us getting that experience. Because one of the things that a lot of people come here ask is, how do I get started? And that's the answer. As you do some of these projects, you're going to be well positioned to get an internship, to get hired, or whatever.
And I think that's, at least from what I've heard, that's a lot of the vision of Gitcoin, what they want to be doing, and a bunch of other players that are more, I guess, kind of closed off. Like Brain Trust is another one. They want kind of these on-chain records and affiliation with open source projects and groups to kind of represent the things that historically like HR teams try to vet about people.
So here's a cool thing, is that Gitcoin, the amount of Gitcoin is just money. So as you earn Gitcoin, you are just solving the problems that people want to pay for.
Right.
So these are going to be technical problems, you know, things that they couldn't get someone else to do, that type of stuff. But based on the people that are here, based on the votes from Mark Dow, based on the, you know, the culture that we've set up on this call, if our mission is to help people break into the scene, quit their job, maybe instead of just paying people to, you know, take something and see and implement it in Java, which is a great Gitcoin. That's a great thing you should use Gitcoin for, or something like that, right? Mm-hmm. Something nobody wants to do, and that, you know, you probably need for some reason. But instead, if we're like, hey, go write a marketing plan for this new project, who can't fund you? They have no money, but they want a marketing plan. That's something nobody would pay on Gitcoin.
Right.
Nobody would do that. Nobody would be like, I'm going to pay you money to write my marketing plan. Anonymous person behind Gitcoin. We could do that. We could underrate this using our reputation points.
Hey, Daniel, how's it going?
Hey there. Is that Cliff?
Yeah, okay, you can hear me all right?
Yeah.
Yo.
Hey, Will, happy International NFT Day.
Thank you.
Have you seen the historical NFT marketplace beta websites that are being developed specifically for trading historical NFTs?
No, I have not seen them.
There's two being worked on. One is oldnft.com maybe, and the other is Leonidas is behind it. It looks like the focus right now is primarily Ethereum chain, 2018 and before. One of them, on the beta, I noticed that one of the old Sue Squares contracts is on there, but there's only 31 items, and which I guess they're in I don't even know where they are, but
You can steal those, so don't buy those.
Don't buy those.
Oh, okay. Old version. Remember, there's a glitch in a very old version of Sue Squares.
Noted. You know that one of the Sue Square collector who has a huge
plot has been looking for a buyer, and they were considering customizing it and doing contributor to the CryptoKitty community. From what my understanding, I'm just wondering what your thoughts are on how Sue Squares and CryptoKitties can get along.
I think that looks really cool. So we're talking about 10,000sue.com, the octagon.
Yes.
They've already said this is. So it looks like an octagon, and it put my daughter through college, so thank you. And that octagon, is very well known in our house. And octagons are my daughter's favorite shape.
I did not know this. Lord.
Squares are so, every 2-year-old knows what a square is, but how many 2-year-olds know what an octagon is? So she really loves the octagon.
Wow.
Yeah, so the octagon's cool, and we're talking about using this space. You can paste something on there. So we're talking about the owner of the octagon pasting the cat picture on there, which looks super cool. And let me tell you a little bit of history about Sue Squares real fast. Deep in the September of hell, this is when I had to do therapy for my arm because I was minting them by hand and broke myself. True story.
Oh, yeah.
So during this time, I had many discussions with people about which square do they want, because I was taking these orders one by one. My wife and I are like, the big mover, the big things that move is the Lena, the porn star photo in the middle. So this is a famous image. I think if you go to Wikipedia, that was a major mover for getting people to buy squares. Absolutely.
So I was behind that, suggesting that to be the image in front and center on the top, the Sue Squares billboard. My friend had purchased that lot and wanted to customize and put a badass picture there, because at the time we were on the other end. We were the guys sending in the PayPal purchases and the emails, and I remember the one guy who bought each individual square one at a time, like one per email, and he bought a bunch. The symbolism behind that photograph, as being the first colorized image to be transmitted over the internet, right? It felt appropriate as an image to be displayed on the first billboard NFT on the blockchain. But I remember after that, it livened up the board, and a bunch of activity started. And that was before the board was hacked, right? And one of the squares kind of made all the other squares look funny.
Oh my God, this was hacked. Be careful. Yeah, yes, hacked.
That's not the right word, right?
Yeah. Glitched. One of the squares somehow not only was it a picture, part of the picture, but somehow it was also a valid part of a GIF file. Somehow, like the first 3 letters of it or something made the computer think it was a GIF file. And so when it was composing, instead of interpreting it as 10 by 10 pixels, it interpreted it as a huge GIF file and broke the whole thing. It glitched the whole thing. And I'm like, what the when?
I've never seen a website look like it had a physical virus before. It looked like...
And what's the electric
so this
fence?
octagon, if you load the page, there's this yellow thing that starts from the top corner and blows out. So many people wanted those squares. These are the most desirable squares that are next to the other squares. So if you want one of those squares, then you have to use Ethereum to buy it. And, Ethereum's going to handle who gets it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I wonder why those are going more. I guess everybody's buying up their digital real estate, preparing for the Sue Squares metaverse.
Well, there were 2 specific motivations. One was the Lena photo, and the other one was the punk on the bottom, towards the center, but slightly east of the center. That also was really, that was really a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so bringing it back, this octagon really has an opportunity, especially if it's officially, recognized. If we're not, Lena's not around to, endorse Sue Squares. But if this cat goes up and we already have a tweet on file. This person's like, I wouldn't be upset. They said I wouldn't be mad. That's a start.
Interesting.
I appreciate what you've done before, and anything that you want to advise that person about, that would go a long way.
I mean, the owner of the Octagon, definitely, they have their own financial goals, I guess. I think the most cost-effective thing for them, I mean, the cheapest thing would be to personalize the Octagon and go from there, and then list it. A part of it is the marketplace for NFTs has limitations in how many you can bundle. It would be possible in SudoSwap, over the counter, or using the tool you created to send NFTs in bulk. That tool is really nice. I know James, who frequents the chat, is trying to build tools for SuSquares, like customizing a plot of squares. With the 10 pixel limitation, it's more desirable to have a big space, and you can have a higher resolution picture with that. A side question for you, Will. Have you ever considered having SuSquares hosted in different languages?
Yes. So obviously Chinese would be the next one that I'm ready to do.
I'm
not
unfamiliar with the Chinese NFT marketplace, but my understanding is that there's a huge market there.
So Shanghai, in their official 5-year government plan for the city, includes NFT as part of their strategic initiative. And
Wow.
Shanghai is the first place in Asia where I even talked about NFTs before. And so I'm hoping to go back there and remind them of that, and remind them of the connection that we have.
I can dig it.
That'd be fun.
Then it would become like a international digital billboard.
I think John Bry has a question.
Hey, John.
Hey, what's up, William? Nice to talk to you again. I had a question about ERC 721A. I was wondering if there's just any things to worry about or be careful about.
It's good stuff. A lot of people should use it. If you're going to be minting groups of things, it makes a lot of sense. There's only one gotcha, and it's documented. There's a special batch mint. It's a ERC. There's an ERC for that, which is you're only supposed to do that at the time that you're minting the contract.
Oh, so it's a batch mint only for the constructor.
Correct.
Gotcha.
But there are other types of batch minting that you can do with 721A. So if you're going to sell 10 at a time or 100 at a time, no big deal. You can do that. But if you want to use this special feature for minting 1,000 or 1,000,000 at a time, because it forgoes sending the events, which is a requirement of ERC 721, but not a requirement of this other thing. So if you're going to forgo the events, you can only do that in the constructor.
Okay. Understood. Thanks for that summation.
Cool. Very welcome. All right,
Do you want to say a word or two about hacking Profanity vanity address as well?
This is cool. So this just came out. Profanity is the name of a tool that allows you to choose your wallet public address to some degree. So, you use Ethereum, you get a wallet address. What if you just kept re-rolling the dice until you got a cool number, like something that started with 123 and 000 or something like that? And this is valuable to some people. In fact, Seaport, which is deployed by OpenSea, starts with a bunch of extra zeros in the beginning. Mm-hmm. So they did a lot of re-rolls to get that number. Okay, so there's a tool that does this. When you make a tool that's creating your private key, you got to make sure you have entropy. This tool does not have sufficient entropy. So anybody who used this tool, anybody who has a vanity address, they're on notice that somebody can just guess their password. Hopefully these people, they know who they are. If you have a full address and you use this tool, now would be a good time to stop using that wallet.